Welcome, Stashers, to another episode of STACHE Sports. It was announced today that the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to bring back up Jared Jones, that got injured last year, to shoulder surgery. This is his first start this year because he was injured last year. But the big news is that they moved Carmen Majewski down to the bullpen. I mean, a lot of people expected Carmen Majewski would get moved down to the bullpen. But I don't know if I agree with it because the last starts of Bubba Chandler have not looked good, and Bubba Chandler should probably have been moved down to the bullpen or moved back down to Indianapolis, in my personal opinion. But we'll see what happens. Because I know we need good pitchers, and now we have Jared Jones coming back in the lineup. But I think they should have moved Bubba Chandler down to the bullpen. But I do realize that the Pirates do need good bullpen arms, and maybe they believe that Carmen Majewski can be that spark plug, but can get this bullpen going. Because some of the starts that Bubba Chandler lost, including last night, weren't all his fault. It was our bad bullpen, and like I said, we need bullpen help. But I just don't get why they moved him down, because Carmen Majewski's starts are a lot better than a 1-7 now, I believe, Bubba Chandler. And yes, I do realize Bubba Chandler's a lot younger, and I do believe Bubba Chandler has a higher ceiling and a higher upside compared to Carmen Majewski, and they believe that Carmen Majewski is more suitable for the bullpen. But we'll see what happens. I mean, they could always change it again and move Carmen Majewski back up. But Carmen Majewski was a lot better in the rotation than I think Bubba Chandler is right now. I mean, I know it can all change, and maybe if we can get his confidence going and get a lot better, maybe Bubba Chandler can get better and get more wins. I mean, they scored 4 runs last night, but they gave up 10. And I didn't really watch the game, so I don't know how much he gave up. I think he gave up 4 runs last night, but I mean, Carmen Majewski's last few games have been a lot better on paper, and a lot better stats than Bubba Chandler so far this year. But we'll see. I know it's only early May, and we still have a lot more baseball left. Carmen Majewski is a right-handed pitcher. I know that. Here we go. That's what I want. So far, Carmen Majewski's 2026 season has 4 wins and 3 losses, and a 3.76 ERA in 11 games. In 5.5 innings pitched, 50.5 innings pitched, and 46 strikeouts. There he is. And Bubba Chandler is a 1-6. So Carmen Majewski has a lot better record with a 4.45 ERA, 4.85 ERA, 11 game. I don't know what that means. And 52 strikeouts. I mean, he might have more strikeouts, but we'll see. I mean, if it gets his control down, it can get a lot better control. Maybe Bubba Chandler can be a lot better, but we'll see. I mean, we do need a good bullpen arm to go along with Soto and the other guy that we have, but I can't remember his name right now, but are doing good in the bullpen. I mean, Dennis Santana's not doing good at all right now in the bullpen, and we need better arms in the bullpen to help Paul Skeens, who pitches tonight, help keep his lead so he doesn't keep losing games. Hopefully Paul Skeens could do good, but Bubba Chandler will be starting tomorrow, and tomorrow's game Jared Jones, G.I. Jones will be back tomorrow for his first game back in the Pirates uniform since getting injured last year. It's going to be interesting to see how good he can do tomorrow night, but we'll talk more about that in tomorrow's episode, so you have something to come back to and watch for tomorrow's episode. But I don't know. We'll see what the Pirates do. I mean, Don Kelly and management, I just don't know if they got this one right, because Carmen Majewski's last few starts looked a lot better. I mean, I know it's a team sport, and they need the players to hit and the players have been hitting. Sometimes the Carl Majewski starts more than Bubba Chandler starts, but Bubba Chandler's been out of control and giving up a lot of walks, which is not good for any pitcher to give up a lot of walks. So maybe he needs to sit down the bullpen, but I guess they're thinking that maybe if they think he is a long-term starter, that it could ruin his confidence if they put him in the bullpen. So I guess I get that standpoint from that part of the not starting not putting Bubba Chandler in the bullpen. But we'll see what the Pirates do. It's going to be interesting to see. But Bubba Chandler's game last night was not good because the Pirates lost 10-4, and he didn't look good last night at all. So we'll see what happens in the long-term future. Maybe they might still trade for another pitcher and try to get another starter in here and keep Carl Majewski in the bullpen. But we'll see. They still need more bullpen arms, even though Carl Majewski's going down to the bullpen, because our bullpen has been the kryptonite of our team this year, and that's something that the Pirates have been really struggling with. There's been a lot of games this year that the Pirates have lost because the bullpen came in and blown their lead, or they couldn't hold on to a tied game and they blew it, and there wasn't any chance the Pirates come back because of how many points and runs they gave up. So hopefully getting Carl Majewski down puts a spark plug in there, and he can go a couple innings and eat up a couple innings before we put in Soto and the other guy that's doing pretty good right now too. But that's something that was a hard decision by the Pirates, but I guess they made it, and we'll see what happens now. It's going to be interesting, like I said, we'll talk more about this tomorrow, and more about this again tomorrow in tomorrow's episode. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Carl Majewski and Jerry Jones, and see how good he is and how much of a leash he has on. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he can get back to his playing time before. Then it's going to be a really good thing because Jerry Jones was really good before he got hurt. But sometimes injuries and stuff like that, you don't know what's going to happen. MLB owners proposed first salary cap since 1994 strike. I mean, that's what baseball needs. Baseball needs a salary cap. I've been hammering this home for a long time. Baseball does need a salary cap because, as we know, every year it's going to be the Dodgers and whoever the Dodgers play, because the Dodgers have all the money in the world, and the Dodgers can spend it on all these players and spend a lot of money on all these players and give all these players many more years and many more times opportunities than the Pittsburgh Pirates can, or the Los Angeles, or anybody can. They need something that can give the floor, but it's going to be hard to know what kind of salary cap it can do, because since they didn't have a salary cap and the Dodgers are spending all this money, what's going to be the floor? I mean, if they do get a salary cap, it might be a lot better and a lot easier chances to keep the best pitcher in all baseball, Paul Skeens, back there, because we're going to have a salary cap and have to reach the floor, because all teams are fighting equally, than having Paul Skeens go to the Dodgers or the Yankees for $500 million or more. $500 million or more, depending on how much he can make. Because if they don't have a salary cap, these teams that have a higher payroll and a better market can pay their players oodles amount of money, which is ridiculous in my opinion, and that's why baseball needs a salary cap. So I do think that baseball might go on a strike next year to try to figure this out in the players' union, but it's going to be interesting. We'll keep our eyes on that throughout the year and throughout this. Major League Baseball owners proposed a hard salary cap to players as part of the next CBA on Thursday, the first firm salary cap proposal since 1994. Under this proposal, presented in the meeting with union officials, each team would need to maintain a payroll of at least, $171.2 million without exceeding $245.3 million starting in 2027. That includes players' benefits just as it does under the current competitive balance tax system. If the sides can negotiate a new CBA before the current one expires December 1st, owners are likely to lock out the players until a new deal is in place. In this instance, players will have no contract with their teams. And the league business involving players, like trades and free agency, will come to a halt. The sides are likely to meet again in the coming week after each has designated the other proposals. The current 12 teams that would need to increase their payrolls to reach a minimum, while 8 teams would have to shed payroll to get under the ceiling. The proposal includes 50-50 split of leagues revenue with players as those increase the salary floor and cap would also increase additionally in the league payroll system and fund over receives money and along with 30 other teams. The teams that would increase their payroll the season under age, the Rockies, the Cardinals, the Guardians, the White Sox, our beloved Pittsburgh Pirates would have to increase their payroll, which would be good because then they could sign Paul Skeens to a mega contract so he would avoid arbitration and avoid free agency years. So that'd be good if we get a salary cap because they'll sign Paul Skeens, which that's something the Pirates need because Paul Skeens, even though he has some off days, is probably still one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And we don't need to leave him and see him in a Yankees uniform or a Dodgers uniform or somebody else's uniform. We need to see number 30 hung up in the rafters and hopefully give us a World Series championship trophy before he's done playing in baseball. We need Paul Skeens and Libby Dunn to stay in Pittsburgh and be the most powerful couple in all of Pittsburgh and all of sports, including the NFL. More powerful than Travis and Taylor. But the other teams are the A's, the Rockies, the Cardinals, the Guardians, the White Sox, the Twins, the Brewers, the Rays, the Marlins, the Nationals, and the Reds. So basically every team in our division needs to increase their payroll right now besides the Chicago Cubs because I guess Chicago is a higher market team. Teams that would need to shed payroll to get under the salary cap are the Dodgers and the Yankees, of course, because the Dodgers and the Yankees seem to always spend oodles amount of money on salary cap, making baseball not fair. I mean, if we did have a salary cap, baseball would be a lot fairer because teams would be more even and you not know who's going to win. And yes, I do get it. Sometimes in football, you have those super teams and wonder years, like when you have Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was in his prime. In football, for example, you always know that the Patriots might have a good shot of going to the Super Bowl, or whatever team Tom Brady was playing for would have a good shot of going to the Super Bowl. Or like Patrick Mahomes, you always think when the Chiefs are healthy that Patrick Mahomes has a good shot of going to the Super Bowl, or the Buffalo Bills, even though the Buffalo Bills haven't making a name for themselves and make an AFC Championship game. I do get that, but sometimes you get surprise teams come up in the NFL, and it's not always the Patriots, the Chiefs, or whatever team has the most superstar players because they have a salary cap, so each team is even, and you don't know year after year what team's going to go to the Super Bowl. Or for instance, in basketball, I mean, we might have a funner this year if I go back-to-back, but since they have a salary cap, you do have that time when they have their super teams that go back-to-back, like when Steph Curry's in the prime, you knew Golden State was always in there, but that's something else too, as other sports like that in hockey, you don't know which teams are going to go there year after year. Even sometimes they might have back-to-back years, like the Thunder might this year, if the Spurs can't force a Game 7 to win a Game 7. But we'll see. But the teams that would need to set a payroll are the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Blue Jays, Phillies, Red Sox, Braves, and Padres. MLB remains the North American Professional Sports League MLB remains the only major North American sports league without a salary cap and a floor system. The last time baseball owners proposed a firm salary cap was 1994, and it prompted a 7.5-month strike that forced the cancellation of the World Series for the first time in 90 years. MLB eventually withdrew the cap proposal after presenting with a national floor. But that's something that baseball needs. That's something that I even wrote a paper on in high school about a salary cap. I mean, baseball does need that. It would make baseball a lot more competitive and a lot more interesting. I mean, Paul Skeens would have a better team if we had a salary cap because our owner, that's cheap as hell, would have to get off his butt and spend money and start signing these players and getting good players and getting good hitters. And yes, I do realize if we sign all these good players, it might not gel out and it might not be good, but at least gives us more hope as fans to know that it won't always be the Dodgers and Yankees and all these teams have a higher payroll to have a higher salary cap in baseball, but other teams could have a fair shot and not have somebody's Cinderella baseball teams and have some teams have a fair shot. I mean, yes, I do realize if there's a higher salary cap, maybe baseball tickets might go up through the skyrocket and there might be other stuff, but I'd rather have that and have more of a competitive baseball than just know it's a Dodgers Invitational or the Yankees Invitational. We'll see who plays them in the World Series year after year. I mean, the Dodgers are back-to-back World Series champs, looking to go on a three-peat. Something needs to be stopped and put this to end and have other teams get get a new floor and get a new salary cap. Something needs to stop to make baseball more competitive. I mean, I do get it. Some of these teams, like the Mets and the Red Sox this year, who are the teams that I mentioned earlier in the video that need to restructure the salary cap, aren't doing so good this year, but that's just this year. Other years they've been doing good. I know the Mets haven't been doing good and haven't won stuff, so it doesn't matter, like I said, if you get a lot of money and get it paid. Sometimes it don't work out well, and maybe it's the coach or the management or whatever it is, but at least they have a shot year after year to make a World Series compared to like the Pirates or the other teams that I mentioned, like the A's that are in the bracket that would need to increase their payroll. And if that did happen, maybe Paul Skeens, the best pitcher in baseball, would stay in Pittsburgh for his whole career and make Pittsburgh his home. But we'll keep my eye on that and see what happens with that. But that's going to be an ongoing story on this Stache Sports, and these Stachers will be in for a ride, and we'll talk more about that when that happens. Boston Red Sox, Whitcock put on IR. I think the Boston Red Sox win today. I think the Blue Jays beat the Orioles. I think the Pirates beat the Cubs. I think the Pirates bounced back after losing 10-4 yesterday with Paul Skeens. I think Paul Skeens has a bounce back game today, and it helps the Pirates win the series versus the Chicago Cubs, and they don't split 2 games apiece. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time. The Cubs are a good team, even though they've been on a 10-game losing streak and won 1 game. But I think Paul Skeens shows why he's the best pitcher in baseball tonight, and redeemed himself after having a bad game in the last game he came out. The Texas Rangers, I think they win today. It looks like the White Sox are going to win unless the Minnesota Twins, with our old manager, can come back from a 6-2 deficit. And the Los Angeles Angels, beat the Tigers 7-1 today. But it might make the Angels more competitive too. And other teams, if we did have a salary cap, and other teams like that. Why is baseball the only sport that doesn't have a salary cap in all of North American sports? That's beyond me right now in 2026, why that doesn't happen. I really do believe that baseball should do that and should have a salary cap, and should have a salary cap for baseball. But we'll see what happens. Jackson Dart addresses Giants over his Trump introduction, which I don't think it should interfere with. He introduced the president. Oh well, let him do whatever he wants. If you're a team, you should get over and play like a team and start winning like a team when it counts. Mahomes is on the field. The only news in the Steelers right now is it looks like William Howard is still taking Team 2 reps, and Mason Rudolph is taking third team reps. Yesterday, my friend Robbie tried to lie to me and tell me that Mason Rudolph got traded. I mean, it'd be nice if he does get traded, because I'd rather see William Howard and Drew Howard behind Aaron Rodgers if so need. I mean, I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers go down this year at all, because I think we have a good shot of going to the playoffs and winning a playoff game for the first time in a long time. But if it happens, I'd rather see what our future holds. Because to be quite honest, Mason Rudolph does not have a future in Pittsburgh at all past this year, I do believe. In my personal opinion, I don't think Aaron Rodgers has a future in all of Pittsburgh past this year. So it'd be nice to see what happens and see how they do that. And see what happens if these young and upcoming superstars like William Howard and Drew Howard, if they need to play this season. I mean, we already know what we're going to get from Rudolph. He might win us a couple games. I mean, I know he did help us make the playoffs a couple years ago when our quarterbacks went out, but we'll see. I mean, I know he's a decent backup, but he's a backup quarterback. I mean, and let's be honest, Will Howard might be a backup quarterback, but we don't know. Will Howard got hurt last year and didn't play a snap of football, including preseason, so we don't know what we have with Will Howard. But I'd rather see what we have with Will Howard before next year, because even if Aaron Rodgers plays all year, we might still draft a quarterback next year in the draft. I don't know about that, because I can't read into the future. I'm not no mind teller. If I was, I probably wouldn't be doing this. I'd be gambling. If because then I can be rich, because then I can tell who would win these games. But whatever, that's just a joke. But I'm not no mind reader, so I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. But in my personal opinion, as a diehard Steelers fan, I'd rather see what Will Howard or Drew Howard can do if so need to be called into a regular season game. If we're winning by big or Aaron Rodgers gets banged up, I'd rather see what they can do than Mason Rudolph. But with that being said, I don't know if Mason Rudolph have this many shooters for Mason Rudolph, to be quite honest. Like a couple years ago when we signed Mason Rudolph, we were the only team that were interested in bringing him back last year. So I don't know if there's going to be any teams interested. I mean, I know the cookies can crumble this year and they could change. And somebody back a quarterback and get hurt, and maybe one of us ever change to college. If we can get a draft pick, a high draft pick out of him, I'll be okay with that because I don't think he has a future here. And like I said, I'd rather see what Will Howard can do behind with this team. Or Drew Howard can do if Drew Howard is here. But a lot of people think that Drew Howard is going to be a project year and it's going to come down between Will Howard or Mason Rudolph to see who's backing up Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers goes down. Which I do believe that should be Mason Rudolph. Will Howard. I said the wrong name. But we'll see. There's still more no news on the Packers running back that got arrested for domestic violence yesterday on several charges. But I keep my eye on that and talk more about that when that comes around. There's no hockey games tonight since the Las Vegas Golden Knights swept. But last night, the Carolina Hurricanes won game 3-1, 4-0, making a 3-1 series lead. I do think the Carolina Hurricanes have a good shot if they can win one more game to maybe beat Vegas, but let's hope they can win one more game because this year the United States won gold in the Olympics, so let's hope a United States team can win the Stanley Cup and not give it to our arch rival Canada, and we can show that the United States is the best team, best hockey country in the world. Sebastian Aho and Nick Ehlers and Shane Glasgow had the first goal for Carolina. Jordan Stahl, that used to play for the Penguins and got a Stanley Cup win for the Penguins, had the second goal, assisted by Keandre Miller and Ehlers. And Logan Stankoven, and Jackson Blake and Shane had the assist. And Andre Shikov had an empty net, making a 4-0 win for the Carolina Hurricanes. But I watched some of that game, but we'll see what happens. If Carolina wins, it's going to be Carolina wins the next game. It'll be Carolina Vegas in the Stanley Cup final. We have some stat hockey news today. 4-time Stanley Cup champion Claude Lemieux dies at 60. Claude Lemieux, who was the Stanley Cup 4 times during his memorable NHL career, has passed away, but that's sad. But he was 60. He played for the Montreal Canadiens, the Dallas Stars, San Jose Sharks, the Colorado Avalanche, and the New Jersey Devils. But he was 6 years old, but that's sad that he passed away. But that's today's big hockey news. Well, now we're going to go to basketball. Tonight is game 6 of the NBA basketball. The San Antonio Spurs and Victor Yamba, one of the youngest and hot shots, is looking to force a game 7 for the San Antonio Spurs to force a winner-take-all game 7 back in Oklahoma City. Will they do it? Or we're fun to go to back-to-back we're fun to go to the finals for back-to-back years and have a chance to win back-to-back champions, back-to-back NBA champions. I guess we'll find out tonight at 8:30 on NBC and Peacock. But Stache Sports thinks it's going to be forced to Game 7. I think the Spurs are going to win at home. I think the Spurs are going to bounce back after that bad loss and win the Game 6 tonight and force to Game 7, excuse me. San Antonio's a minus 3.5 tonight. I think Victor Yamba has a great night. I think the Spurs come back and bounce back and force to Game 7, and we have another Game 7. Because I know the NBA, and I know if an NBA has their hand in it, they're going to win a Game 7 because the finals don't start until next Wednesday. So they want that ad revenue and that money. But I really do think the Spurs are a better team, and I think the Spurs force the winner take all Game 7, which means doesn't matter. Which means they'll have less rest for the New York Knicks, who swept the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I just hope it's a good game tonight. The Spurs are 62-20, and 32-8 at home. I think they become 33-8 at home tonight. You heard it here first on Stache. And the Thunder are 16-14 and 30-10 away. But I think the Spurs win tonight. The force of Game 7, winner take all. But we'll see. I know I'm always wrong, but we'll see. And yesterday, Coach Mazzulla won Head Coach of the Year, which is a good honor to have Coach of the Year because Joe Mazzulla is one of the better Boston Celtics coaches of late, and he's done a really good job this year, even though we got lost in the first round. He did a really good job this year for the Boston Celtics, and I think that's a good honor for him. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think the Spurs win tonight, and I think they force a Game 7. Tonight, we don't have a hockey game, so we just have one basketball game because the Las Vegas Golden Knights swept already, so that's who would have been playing tonight if Colorado would have won. But since Colorado lost, we don't have a basketball game tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I do realize I'm glad Jared Jones is back because we did need another good arm in our bullpen. If Jared Jones was that arm, if Jared Jones' arm can be that good like he was before he got hurt, that's going to be a really good blessing for the Pirates. That's something they need. I mean, I do think that they should have moved Bubba Chandler down over to Carmen Majewski, but Carmen Majewski could be that spark plug that the Pirates need in the bullpen to help the bullpen do a lot better. But we'll see what happens with the Pirates. I mean, maybe Bubba Chandler now can get back on track. If Bubba Chandler can get his control down, that might be a lot better and stop pitching so many balls, but we'll see. But thank you for watching every episode of Stache Sports. If you have any comments, please leave them down below on what I can improve on or what I can talk more about. But I do really think that MLB should have a salary cap and have a floor. But it's going to be hard with all these mega teams having these mega deals. What's going to happen with all these mega players if they do have a salary cap? Are these mega players going to want out or are they going to hold out? I don't know, but it makes baseball more interesting if there's a salary cap and a salary cap floor to see what happens in the baseball world. It'd be interesting to see what happens with these negotiations and meetings. And I'll keep my eye on it and keep my stashes posted about that in these videos if you watch them. But we'll see what happens. But I do, in my heart of hearts, really do believe that baseball should have a salary cap because I think about it make baseball a lot more competitive and a lot more interesting. It might make more people start watching baseball because I think if people are people not watching baseball as much anymore. I think it's because people already know that it's going to be the Dodgers and the Yankees in the final, so it's not fun to watch. But if they do have a salary cap, it'd be more fun to watch. And teams like the Pirates can keep the best pitcher ever and polish games longer probably if they do have a salary cap because they have to reach the floor. And that would be one player that the Pirates would sign if they do have a salary cap. It would help the Pirate fans know that they can keep the players around and try to keep polished games here for a long time. I do realize if we do have a salary cap, polished games will still go somewhere else. But it'll help the Pirates' advantage because the Pirates don't have a lot of this money to shell out like the Los Angeles Dodgers do right now. So it'll definitely help the Pirates and help these other teams be able to shell out more money and try to get more of these super teams and more of these super good players and not try to have it all about the farm system and some of these other players if we did have a salary cap. But we'll see what happens with the Pirates and to see what happens with the Pirates and other baseball teams that need more money and need more salary cap if they do have a salary cap eventually in baseball. But thank you for watching every episode of Stache Sports. Like I said, if you have any comments, please like and share this video, and please leave them down below.